Hey everyone, this is BlackHawkSC, and in this video I'll explain 10 important terms to know when you're playing MWO. All these terms are created by the community and not officially defined in the game, so sometimes the meanings can be hard to find. Mostly this is going to help players who are just starting to play, but it might also help players who are not so new and are confused by multiple definitions for a particular term. So let's get started. Number 1. Crit or Chord. When a component like center torso, side torso, or leg has been stripped of armor, people say it's crit or chord. For example, the Atlas's crit CT or the Atlas's CT chord. The term crit comes from the fact that once a component has lost its armor, the equipment inside is vulnerable to critical damage. While critical damage has nothing to do with the health of the component, the term refers to the situation when the damage occurs, so that's why it's being used. Number 2. Laser vomit. Laser vomit refers to a build archetype that involves mixing large and medium class lasers together to increase the size of your alpha while avoiding ghost heat. On the clan side, this usually means mixing ER mediums and ER large or large pulse. For IS, it's usually ER mediums, standard large lasers, or large pulse lasers. The term laser vomit should not be confused with laser boating, which applies to any build with a lot of lasers, even lasers of the same type. For example, the Cicada 2A build is a medium laser boat, not a laser vomit build. Number 3. PPFLD. This is short for Pinpoint Front-Loaded Damage. Pinpoint refers to weapons that deal all of its damage to a single location on an enemy mech. Front-loaded means that all the damage is applied at once and not over some duration. So for example, lasers are neither pinpoint nor front-loaded. SRMs and LBX ACs are front-loaded, but not pinpoint, because their shots have built-in spread, which causes damage to be randomly placed across an area. PPC, Gauss, and Inner Sphere standard ACs are PPFLD. Clan ER PPCs, while it has splash damage, is still considered a PPFLD weapon because it applies a guaranteed 10 damage to the component being aimed at. Number 4. Poptart. This is just another term for jump shooting. If you have a mech with jump jets, like this Huntsman, you can clear a ridge or some other obstacle with your jump jets, release your JJs, aim, and fire while your mech is on its way down. This is a great way to minimize return fire from an enemy because it's faster to use gravity to drop back than to reverse back behind the same cover. While it works best with mechs with high-mounted PPFLD weapons, you can also Poptart with pulse lasers, SRMs, LBX, and many other weapon types, but just not as well. Number 5. Shielding, or leg shielding. This refers to using your less important components to absorb damage while keeping your vital components healthy. One of the best known examples is the Atlas, where the arms usually don't house a lot of weapons. While your weapons are cooling off, you can twist to the side to have the enemies put most of their damage onto those arms. Sometimes an entire arm and side torso can be used for shielding, like in the Centurion A. You can also use a broken leg to shield the healthy leg like this. This is called leg shielding. Suppose the left leg is broken, and you can expose that leg to the enemy because the healthy leg is hidden behind the broken one. In this case though, 40% of the damage does transfer to the side torso, so you're not really getting away for free here. It just allows you to live a little longer. Number 6. Meta builds or meta mechs. Well, I could do an entire video about what the meta is, but the short version is that a meta build is one that is optimized by taking into account the nature of the maps, mechs, weapons, and strategies of the game. For example, currently in the absence of consistently good brawling weapons and chassis, and the removal of most of the best inner sphere quirks, mid-range clan builds are in a relatively strong position and are considered meta for the time being. Chassis that can take advantage of these builds with good offensive and defensive characteristics, like high-mounted hardpoints, are referred to as meta mechs. One example is the Ebon Jaguar laser vomit configuration. Some players think meta builds are cheese because the builds look similar to each other. I can understand that viewpoint, but instead of blaming players for wanting to maximize their chances of winning, the player base should look at PGI to better balance underperforming weapons and chassis. Number 7. Trading. This refers to when you attempt to deal damage and you're also dealt return damage by the enemy mech. In other words, you've traded damage with the enemy. When you peek out of cover, fire your weapons, and don't take any return fire, you haven't really traded. So some people use peeking and trading interchangeably, but there is a difference. One way to win a trade is to do a lot more damage to the enemy than you take in return. Another way to win is that you've done better quality damage to the enemy than they did to you. For example, here my Hellbringer wins a trade against the Rifleman because my damage is concentrated on a CT, while his damage is spread across multiple components. Number 8. Convergence. Convergence refers to the trajectory of your weapon fire when those weapons are mounted at different locations on your mech. This mostly affects projectile weapons like PPCs and ACs, when you need to shoot a moving target. I go into more detail about weapon convergence in a separate video. I'll link it in the description below, so hopefully you'll check it out if you haven't seen it. Number 9. Sync drops. This is when 2 or more players on an external voice server like Discord or TeamSpeak attempt to drop in the same game in the solo queue on the same side. While this usually fails because the matchmaker puts them on different teams or they drop in different games altogether, when it does work out, if they have good coordination, they can coordinate better than random players on VoIP. Some consider this to be a form of matchmaker exploitation, but it's difficult to prove and the benefits are not as great as a few years ago, when there was no VoIP in the game. Number 10. NASCAR. If you've ever seen a NASCAR race, you'll know what this is. Essentially, this is when both teams rotate non-stop counterclockwise around some central geographical feature on the map in order to catch the backside of the other team. The effectiveness of NASCAR really depends on how coordinated the other team is, so I won't get into that topic here. But let's address the question of why counterclockwise instead of the other way. Well, the early MWO IS mechs and even some of the early Clan Omni mechs could be built with most of the firepower on the right side. Think of the Hunchback, Cataphract, Highlander, and Stormcrow for instance. This led to a playstyle where you're at an advantage if you can find a piece of cover that protects your left side while only exposing your right. You can see how they naturally started the right side rotation as both teams were trying to find cover for their left side. Alright guys, that's all the terminology I'll be covering in this video, and I hope you found this to be interesting. So what are some of the terms you think are important for new players to know? Leave them in the comments below and do give it a like and subscribe for more MWO content like this. I'll see you next time.